Captain Lisa Martinez stood on the bridge of the New Horizons, looking out at the strange new planet below. The ship had been traveling through space for 3 months, searching for new worlds and old secrets. Lisa had been a space captain for 10 years, but she had never seen anything like this planet before. The planet was dark and quiet. No radio signals came from its surface. No lights showed in the darkness. But the sensors showed something interesting down there. Old buildings. Very old buildings that were not made by humans. "Captain," said Dr. Alex Thompson, walking onto the bridge with a tablet in his hands, "we found something down there. Something big." Alex was the ship's expert on alien things. He studied old alien cities and tried to understand what had happened to the people who built them. He was a thin man with gray hair who always looked worried about something. "What did you find?" Lisa asked. "Underground rooms?" "Lots of them, and they're covered in writing. Alien writing that looks very old." Alex showed her pictures on his tablet. The writing looked like strange symbols carved deep into stone walls. Lisa nodded. "How old?" "Maybe 1,000,000 years, maybe more." Alex's voice was quiet. "Captain, I need to take a team down there. This could be the biggest discovery we've ever made." The New Horizons was not just a ship full of soldiers or scientists. It was home to 200 people, including families. Some of the crew had brought their wives and husbands and children on this long trip through space. The ship had schools and parks, and even a small zoo. 8-year-old Katie Johnson ran down the hallway, her long brown hair flying behind her. She was late for her math class, but she stopped when she saw Dr. Thompson talking to her father. "Dad, are we going to land on the planet?" she asked. Peter Johnson, the ship's chief engineer, smiled at his daughter. "Not exactly, Katie. We're going to send some people down in shuttles to look around. Can I go?" Katie asked with big, hopeful eyes. "No, sweetie. It might not be safe." Katie made a sad face, but she was used to hearing that planets might not be safe. She had lived on the ship her whole life and had only been on 3 planets so far. Most of them were boring anyway. "Dr. Thompson," Katie said, "what kind of aliens live down there?" Alex knelt down to talk to Katie at her level. "We don't know yet, Katie, but they built some amazing things. Big cities underground. Were they nice aliens or mean aliens? We don't know that either. They're all gone now. They left a long time ago." Katie thought about this. Maybe they just went on vacation. Alex smiled. Maybe they did. 3 days later, Alex and his team came back from the planet with boxes full of pictures and computer files. They had found something that made them all look scared. "Captain," Alex said in the meeting room, "we need to talk in private." Lisa sent everyone else away except for her top officers. Alex put pictures up on the big screen. The pictures showed walls covered in alien writing. "I've been working day and night to understand this writing," Alex said, "and what I found is ... troubling." The writing told a story, a very scary story. "They call it the Void Stalker," Alex said. "Every planet we found has the same warnings. Written on the walls, stay away from the dark places. When the stars go dim, run. When space itself moves, all life ends." Lieutenant Commander Jake Robinson, the ship's weapons officer, leaned forward. "What exactly is this thing?" "According to these writings, it's something that lives in the empty space between stars. It hunts worlds that have life on them. And when it finds them ... Alex's voice got quiet. "Entire planets just go silent. Forever." "How many planets?" Lisa asked. "Hundreds, maybe thousands. The writings say it's been doing this for millions of years." The room was very quiet. Everyone was thinking about what this meant. "Captain," said Dr. Rachel Foster, the ship's doctor who helped people with their feelings and fears, Are we sure this isn't just some old alien ghost story? I thought that, too, Alex said. But then I found this. He put up a new picture. It showed a star map with dates written in alien numbers. This is a record of planets that went quiet. The dates match what our own space telescopes have seen. Worlds that suddenly stopped sending out radio signals. Worlds where all the lights went out at once. Lisa felt a chill run down her back. When was the last attack? 50 years ago. Planet called Zerion Prime. 3 billion people lived there. One day, they were sending normal radio messages. The next day, nothing. When scout ships finally got there, they found empty cities. No bodies. No signs of a fight. Everyone was just ... gone. Katie Johnson was in the air vents again. Her parents told her not to crawl around in there, but it was the best way to get around the ship quickly. And sometimes she heard interesting things. She was crawling over the meeting room when she heard Dr. Thompson talking about the monster that ate old planets. Katie stopped crawling and listened through the air vent. The grown-ups sounded scared, really scared. Katie had never heard Captain Martinez sound worried before, but she sounded worried now. What do we do? The captain asked. We leave, Alex said. Right now. We pack up everything and we jump to hyperspace, and we never come back to this part of space. But what if it follows us? The writings say it only hunts in certain areas. If we stay away from the old planets, we should be safe. Katie thought this was silly. If there really was a monster out there, running away seemed like a bad idea. In all the stories she read, the heroes stayed and fought the monsters. They didn't run away. But maybe grown-ups were different from heroes in stories. Katie crawled back through the vents to her room. She had a lot to think about. There was a monster out there that ate whole planets. The grown-ups were scared, and they were going to run away. She looked out her small window at the stars. They looked the same as always, bright and pretty and far away. She wondered which one of them used to have the planet with 3 billion people on it. Katie decided. She would ask Dr. Thompson more questions tomorrow. He always had good answers, and he never told her she was too young to understand things. Outside, in the deep darkness between the stars, something very old and very hungry began to wake up. The alarm started screaming at 3 in the morning. Katie woke up in her bed as red lights flashed in her room. She had never heard these alarms before. They were different from the fire alarms or the spacesuit alarms. These alarms sounded. Scared, her father ran into her room still wearing his pajamas. Katie, we need to go to the safe room right now, Peter said. His voice was shaky. What's wrong, Dad? I don't know yet. Just come with me. They ran down the hallway with dozens of other families. Everyone looked scared and confused. Katie saw her friend Bobby crying as his mom carried him. She saw Mrs. Clark holding her baby tight against her chest. The safe room was a big metal room in the middle of the ship where people could hide if something bad happened. Katie had only been there once before, during a practice drill. Attention, everyone, Captain Martinez's voice came over the speakers. We have detected several ships approaching our position. Unknown ships. Please remain calm and stay in the safe areas. Katie's father talked to the other engineers in quiet voices. She heard words like massive and never seen anything like it, and we might not make it. Dr. Thompson came into the safe room carrying his computer and a big box of files. He sat down next to Katie and her father. Alex, Peter whispered. Is it the thing? The Void Stalker? Alex looked around to make sure no children were listening, but Katie had very good ears. I don't know, Alex whispered back. But 3 alien fleets just jumped into our system, all running from something. And they're all sending the same message. What message? The stalker wakes. All must flee. Katie felt something cold in her stomach. She had heard grown-ups talk about scary things before, but this was different. Dr. Thompson, who knew everything about aliens in space, looked more afraid than she had ever seen anyone look. On the bridge, Captain Martinez watched the screens with wide eyes. 3 different groups of alien ships had appeared out of hyperspace in the last hour. Ships she had never seen before, from alien races that humans had never met. The first group had long silver ships that looked like needles. The second group had round golden ships covered in lights. The third group had dark ships that seemed to absorb light instead of reflecting it. All 3 groups were sending the same message over and over in different alien languages. But the computer was able to translate all of them. The stalker wakes. All must flee. The dark between stars moves. Death comes. "Captain," said Jake Robinson, "sensors are picking up something else. Something big." Lisa looked at the sensor display and felt her heart stop. There was something out there in the empty space between stars. Something huge. The sensors couldn't get a clear picture of it because it seemed to bend space around itself. It was like trying to look at a hole in reality. "How big is it?" Lisa asked. "Hard to say. At least as big as a city. Maybe bigger. It's not showing up right on our instruments." The alien ships were already preparing to jump back into hyperspace. But something was wrong. Ships that tried to jump would disappear for a few seconds, then reappear in the same place. Their engines were glowing bright, but they weren't going anywhere. "Captain," the communications officer said, "we're getting a message from one of the alien ships. They're asking for help." "Put it through." The voice that came over the speakers was strange and musical, but the words were in English. "Human ship. This is Commander Zelek of the Zephyrian fleet. You must leave this place immediately. The Void Stalker has awakened, and it has trapped us all here. Your hyperspace engines will not work. Nothing can escape once it arrives." Lisa grabbed the microphone. "Commander Zelek, this is Captain Martinez. What is the Void Stalker? How do we fight it?" The alien's laugh was bitter and sad. "Fight it? Captain, my people are the greatest warriors in this part of the galaxy. We have weapons that can destroy moons. We have ships that can outrun light itself. And we are running from this thing like frightened children." Another voice came over the radio, this one deep and growling. "This is War Chief Korak of the Korthic Empire. Human Captain, in 1 hour, you will see why entire civilizations abandon their worlds when the Stalker comes. There is no fighting it. There is no hiding from it. There is only death." A third voice, this one soft and wise-sounding, joined the conversation. "I am High Counselor Arya of the Celestial Coalition. Captain Martinez, our 3 peoples have been enemies for 1,000 years, but today we are united in our fear. The Void Stalker is not just a creature. It is the end of all things. It feeds on life itself." In the safe room, Katie listened to her father and Dr. Thompson talk in worried whispers. The other children were scared because their parents were scared, but they didn't really understand what was happening. Katie understood. There was a monster coming that was so scary that entire alien armies ran away from it. A monster that ate life itself, but Katie wasn't scared. She was curious. She had read lots of books about monsters. Dragons and aliens and robots and ghosts. In the stories, monsters were always scary at first, but usually there was a reason they were monsters. Usually they were sad, or lonely, or hurt. "Dr. Thompson," Katie whispered, "what does the monster eat?" Alex looked down at her with surprise. "Katie, you shouldn't be listening to grown-up talk. But what does it eat?" Alex sighed. "According to the alien writings, it feeds on fear and life energy. The more scared people get, the stronger it becomes. Katie thought about this. So if people weren't scared, it would be weaker? Well, yes, but Katie, everyone gets scared when they see it. That's what it does. It makes people so afraid they can't think straight. Katie nodded like she understood, but she was thinking about something else. In her favorite book, there was a monster that fed on bad dreams. The hero in the story beat the monster by having good dreams instead. Maybe this monster was like that monster. On the bridge, the sensors were going crazy. The thing in space was getting closer, and reality was starting to bend around the ship. The stars outside looked wrong. Some of them were too bright, others were too dim. Space itself looked like it was moving. "Captain," Jake said, his voice tight with fear. "It's affecting our instruments. Navigation is down. Weapon systems are showing errors. Even the lights are flickering." Lisa felt the fear creeping into her own heart. She had been in space battles before. She had flown through asteroid fields and solar storms. But this was different. This felt like the end of everything. The alien commander's voice came over the radio again. "Human captain, it begins. Look upon the void stalker and despair. Look upon the death of worlds." Outside the ship, something impossible appeared in the darkness of space. It was big. Bigger than mountains. Bigger than cities. It looked like a piece of the night sky had come alive and was reaching toward them with long, dark tentacles that seemed to absorb all light. Where it touched space, the stars went out. Where it moved, reality cracked like broken glass. And from deep inside the darkness, something ancient and hungry turned its attention toward the new horizons and the 200 human souls aboard. The first wave of fear hit the ship like an invisible storm. People in the safe rooms started screaming, not because they saw anything scary, but because something was putting fear directly into their minds. Katie watched as grown-ups who were always brave started crying like babies. Her father grabbed his head and fell to his knees. "Make it stop," someone shouted. "Please make it stop." But Katie felt nothing. She looked around at all the scared adults and felt confused. Everyone was acting like something terrible was happening, but she just felt normal. Dr. Rachel Foster, the ship's doctor, was trying to help people who were having panic attacks. Her hands were shaking as she gave medicine to people who couldn't stop screaming. "It's affecting everyone's minds," she said to Dr. Thompson. "It's like it's broadcasting pure terror directly into our brains." Katie tugged on Dr. Foster's coat. "I don't feel scared," she said. Dr. Foster looked down at Katie with surprise. "You don't?" "No. Should I?" Before Dr. Foster could answer, the lights went out. Emergency lights came on, casting everything in red shadows. Through the ship's speakers, they could hear Captain Martinez trying to stay calm. "All hands, we are experiencing technical difficulties. Please remain in safe areas. We are working to resolve the situation." But Katie could hear the fear in the captain's voice too. On the bridge, things were much worse. The void stalker had wrapped its dark tentacles around the ship, but they weren't solid tentacles. They were made of pure darkness that passed through the ship's hull like it wasn't even there. "Shields are useless," Jake reported. "Weapons won't lock on. It's like trying to shoot at empty space." Captain Martinez watched the sensor readings with growing horror. The creature was enormous, maybe the size of a small moon. But it wasn't made of normal matter. It existed partially in their dimension and partially somewhere else. "Captain," the communications officer said, "the alien ships are trying to break free. They're firing everything they have." On the main screen, they could see the 3 alien fleets unleashing weapons that could destroy planets. Beams of energy that could cut through mountains, missiles that could shatter moons, force fields that could stop stars. None of it worked. The weapons passed right through the void stalker like it was made of smoke. But Katie could see something. The adults couldn't see from her hiding spot in the air vents, where she had crawled to get a better view. Every time the aliens fired their weapons, the creature got a little bit bigger. Every time someone screamed in fear, its tentacles got a little bit darker. It was feeding on their terror, and their attempts to fight it. Dr. Thompson was in his lab, frantically reading through all the alien records he had found. His hands shook as he turned pages and typed on his computer. There has to be something, he muttered to himself. Some way to fight it. Some weakness. But every record said the same thing. The Void Stalker had never been defeated. Entire civilizations had tried. Everything. Superweapons, mind powers, advanced technology, prayers to their gods. Nothing worked. One record was particularly scary. It talked about the Korfek home world, a planet of 10 billion warriors who were the fiercest fighters in the galaxy. When the Void Stalker came, they fought for 3 days straight. On the 4th day, the planet went silent. Forever. Another record told about the Zephyrian telepaths, aliens who could control minds across entire star systems. They tried to attack the creature with their mental powers. Instead, it turned their own abilities against them, driving them insane with visions of their worst nightmares. A third record described how the Celestial Coalition tried to bargain with the creature, offering it anything it wanted if it would just leave their worlds. Alone, the creature listened to their offers, then consumed their entire fleet anyway. Every civilization that met the Void Stalker followed the same pattern. First they tried to run, then they tried to fight, then they tried to bargain. Finally, they just gave up and waited to die. Katie crawled through the air vents back to the safe room. The grown-ups were still scared, but they weren't screaming anymore. They were too tired to scream. They just sat there looking hopeless. "Dad," Katie said, climbing down from the vent, "are we going to die?" Peter looked at his daughter with red, tired eyes. "I don't know, sweetheart. Maybe. The monster is really big, isn't it?" "Yes." "And it's really scary." "Yes." Katie thought about this. "Dad, has anyone ever tried just talking to it?" Peter blinked. "What?" "In my books, sometimes monsters are mean because they're sad or lonely. Has anyone tried asking it why it's eating planets?" Dr. Thompson looked up from his computer. "Katie, this isn't a storybook monster. This is real. And according to every record I've found, it doesn't communicate. It just feeds." "But has anyone actually tried?" The adults looked at each other. In all the records and all the stories of civilizations trying to fight or bargain with the creature, Katie was right. No one had ever just tried talking to it like a person. On the bridge, things were getting worse. The ship's hull was starting to crack as reality bent around them. Crew members were collapsing at their stations, overwhelmed by waves of supernatural fear. "Captain," Jake said, "hull integrity is down to 60%. If this keeps up, the ship will break apart." Lisa held onto her captain's chair as the ship shook. Through the windows, she could see the alien fleets being slowly pulled into the creature's dark mass. Ships that had traveled between stars for thousands of years were being consumed like insects in a web. "How long until we're pulled in too?" she asked. "Maybe an hour. Maybe less." Lisa closed her eyes. In her career, she had always found a way out of impossible situations. But this time, there really was no way out. The greatest minds in the galaxy had tried to stop this thing for millions of years, and they had all failed. The only thing left to do was wait. But down in the safe room, Katie Johnson was not waiting. She was thinking. And she was looking at the air vent that led to the observation deck, where she could get the best view of the monster that everyone was so afraid of. She wanted to see it for herself. Not through a computer screen or through someone else's eyes, but with her own eyes. Maybe if she could see it clearly, she could understand what it really was. And maybe just maybe. She could figure out why it was so sad and lonely that it had to eat whole worlds just to feel better. Katie crawled through the air vents, while everyone else was too scared to notice she was gone. The ship was shaking more now, and she could hear metal groaning as the Void Stalker's presence bent reality around them. She reached the observation deck, a big room with huge windows that let people look out at space. Usually, families came here to watch stars and planets. Now, it was empty because everyone was hiding. Katie climbed down from the air vent and walked to the biggest window. What she saw took her breath away. The Void Stalker was beautiful. She knew that was a strange thing to think about, something that was eating alien spaceships, but it was true. It looked like a living piece of the night sky, with dark tentacles that moved like they were dancing. Stars seemed to bend around it, creating patterns of light that looked like art. "Wow," Katie whispered, pressing her hands against the window. The creature was so big that she couldn't see all of it at once. Its tentacles stretched out in every direction, each one the size of a city. But there was something in the middle, something that might have been its heart or its head. It pulsed with a very faint light, like a star that was almost burned out. Katie wasn't scared. She was amazed. "You're really pretty," she said out loud. The moment she spoke, something impossible happened. The creature stopped moving. All of its tentacles, which had been flowing around the ships like water, suddenly went still. The waves of fear that had been pouring from it stopped completely. In the safe room, people suddenly found they could breathe again. A terrible fear that had been crushing their minds lifted like a heavy blanket being pulled away. "What happened?" Dr. Foster asked. The psychological pressure just stopped. On the bridge, Captain Martinez stared at her instruments in shock. The creature ... It's not moving. Why isn't it moving? Katie didn't know that she had done something amazing. She just kept talking to the window, like she was talking to a person on the other side. "Are you okay out there? You look kind of sad. That light in your middle looks like it's almost going out." Far away in space, the Void Stalker was experiencing something it had never felt before. For millions of years, every living thing that saw it was immediately filled with terror. Fear was the only emotion it ever felt from other beings. But this small voice coming from the human ship carried no fear at all. Instead, it carried something the creature had almost forgotten existed: concern, kindness, care. The alien words for these feelings had been lost so long ago that the Void Stalker had no names for them anymore. Katie continued talking. "My name is Katie. What's your name? Do you have a name?" The creature tried to understand what was happening. This tiny being was speaking to it directly, person to person, like it was just another friend. No one had done that in longer than entire galaxies had existed. "You must be really lonely out here," Katie said. "I get lonely sometimes too, when my parents are working and I don't have anyone to play with." "Is that why you're trying to get close to all these ships? Because you want friends?" Dr. Thompson burst into the observation deck, having tracked Katie through the ship's security cameras. "Katie, get away from the window," he said. "It's not safe." But Katie didn't move. "Dr. Thompson, look at it. Really look at it. It's not trying to hurt us. It's trying to talk to us." Alex looked out the window at the massive creature that had destroyed civilizations, and for the first time, he tried to see it through Katie's eyes. Instead of a monster, he saw something that moved with a strange kind of sadness. Something that reached out toward the ships, not like a predator grabbing prey, but like someone reaching for help. "Katie," he said softly, "what are you doing?" "I'm making a new friend," Katie said. "I think it's been alone for a really, really long time." On the bridge, the sensors were picking up something new. The Void Stalker was generating patterns of energy that looked almost like language, very complex, very old language. "Captain," the communications officer said, "I think it's trying to communicate. The computer is trying to translate, but this is unlike anything we've ever seen." Slowly, words began to appear on the screen. Ancient words from a civilization so old that its language had to be pieced together from fragments. Lonely ... so lonely ... forgot ... how to speak. Forgot how to be ... without fear. Katie pressed both hands against the window and spoke clearly. "You don't have to be lonely anymore. I'm here, and I'm not scared of you. You're different, but different isn't scary. Different is interesting." More words appeared on the bridge screens. Small voice ... no fear. First time. In ages beyond counting, someone speaks ... without terror ... Captain Martinez realized what was happening. "Get me a communication link to the observation deck. Now." Katie's father came running into the observation deck, terrified that his daughter was in danger. But when he saw her calmly talking to the window, while the most feared creature in the galaxy hung motionless in space, he stopped. "Katie," Peter said quietly, "what are you doing?" "I'm talking to the sad space creature, Dad. I think it used to have friends, but something happened to them. Now it's all alone, and it forgot how to make new friends without scaring them." Through the ship's speakers, Captain Martinez's voice came through. "Katie, this is the captain. The creature is responding to you. It's trying to communicate. Can you keep talking to it?" Katie nodded, even though the captain couldn't see her. "Hi, space friend. The captain wants me to keep talking to you. Is that okay?" The words that appeared on the bridge screens were filled with wonder. "Small one calls me friend. No one has called me friend since my people became light and left me behind in the dark between stars." Dr. Thompson gasped. "Captain, are you seeing this? It's not a monster. It's a survivor, the last member of some ancient race." The creature's story began to unfold through its broken ancient words. Billions of years ago, it had been part of a great civilization. His people had learned to leave their physical bodies behind and become beings of pure energy and thought, but something had gone wrong during its transformation. While the rest of its species moved on to a higher level of existence, it was left, trapped between dimensions, unable to die, unable to truly live, unable to follow its people to whatever came next. For countless eons, it had drifted through space, growing more and more isolated. The loneliness had driven it mad. It began reaching out to other living beings, desperate for any kind of contact. But its touch brought fear, and fear was all it could share. "I became what you call monster, because I forgot how to be anything else ... small Katie. You remind me ... of what I was, before the endless dark." Katie listened to the translation and felt tears in her eyes. "That's the saddest story I ever heard. You've been alone for so long that you forgot how to make friends. Yes, small friend ... I take fear, because fear is all anyone ever gives me. But you give ... to something else ... something I lost ... long ago." Katie smiled and put her face close to the window. "I give you friendship, and friendship means you're never alone again." In the depths of space, something that had been the terror of the galaxy for millions of years began to remember what it felt like to hope. The change began slowly, then faster and faster. The dark tentacles of the Void Stalker started to glow with soft, warm light. Not the harsh light of stars, but something gentler, like moonlight or the light from a fireplace on a cold night. Katie watched in wonder as the creature transformed before her eyes. The darkness that had absorbed all light began to give light back. The tentacles that had reached out to grab and consume now moved like they were dancing with joy. "Look, Dad," Katie said, It's not scary anymore. It's beautiful. Peter Johnson stood behind his daughter, amazed. His 8-year-old girl had done something that all the armies and weapons and smart people in the galaxy couldn't do. She had seen past the monster to find the person underneath. On the bridge, Captain Martinez watched her instruments in shock. The readings were changing by the second. The gravitational field that had trapped all the ships was fading away. The reality distortions that had been tearing space apart were smoothing out. "Captain," Jake said, "the alien fleets are reporting that their hyperspace engines are working again. They could leave now if they wanted to." But the alien ships weren't leaving. They were just floating in space, watching the impossible thing that was happening. The terror of the galaxy was becoming something else entirely. Commander Zelek's voice came over the radio, filled with wonder. "Human Captain, what is your child doing?" "How is she changing the stalker?" "She's talking to it," Lisa answered. "Just talking to it like a friend." War Chief Korok's deep voice joined the conversation. "In 1,000 years of war, I have never seen anything like this. The creature it's not hostile anymore." High Counselor Arya spoke last, her voice soft. With amazement, "The child has done what none of our civilizations could do. She has shown it compassion." In the observation deck, more people were arriving. Word had spread through the ship that Katie was talking to the Void Stalker, and everyone wanted to see. But they came quietly, not wanting to disturb what was happening. Dr. Thompson stood with his mouth open, watching the creature's transformation. "Katie," he said quietly, "ask it what it wants to do now." Katie nodded and spoke to the window again. "Space friend, what do you want to do now that you remember how to be happy?" The answer came quickly through the ship's translation system. "I want ... to help instead of hurt ... I want to protect instead of destroy. I have been the darkness ... between stars. For so long ... now, I want to be ... the light." Katie clapped her hands together. "That's wonderful. You could help keep space travelers safe. You could be like a guard dog, but for spaceships." "Guard dog ... yes. I would like that ... small Katie. Will you visit me sometimes so I don't forget ... how to be good?" "Of course," Katie said. "We're friends now." Friends visit each other. The creature's joy was so strong that it filled the entire system with warm, happy energy. Every person on every ship suddenly felt better than they had in years. It was like being hugged by someone who loved you very much. Captain Martinez realized that they were witnessing history. The greatest threat in the galaxy was becoming its greatest protector, all because a little girl had been brave enough to see past fear to find friendship. "Katie," the captain's voice came over the speakers, "can you ask your friend if it has a name? Something we can call it besides the Void Stalker?" Katie asked, and the answer came back sad and slow. "I had a name long ago ... but I forgot it in the dark years. Small Katie ... will you give me ... a new name?" Katie thought hard. She wanted to pick a good name, something that showed what the creature really was, now that it wasn't scary anymore. "How about Starlight?" she said. "Because you're bringing light back to the dark places in space. ... Starlight ... yes ... I am Starlight. Now ... no longer the Void Stalker, no longer the Eater of Worlds ... I am Starlight ... friend of Katie ... protector of travelers, guardian of the space between stars." The transformation was complete. Where once there had been a monster of living darkness, there now hung a being of gentle light. Its tentacles had become streams of soft starlight that danced through space like ribbons in the wind. The alien fleets that had been running in terror now approached slowly, cautiously. They had never seen anything like this transformation. Ships, that had been preparing to die were now witnessing a miracle. "Starlight," Katie said, "these alien people were really scared of you. Can you show them that you're nice now?" The creature that was now called Starlight reached out with its glowing tentacles, but this time the touch was gentle. When the light touched the alien ships, instead of fear, the crews inside felt warmth and safety. Commander Zelek's voice came over the radio, filled with wonder. "The creature ... Starlight. It's healing our damaged ships. Our engines that were burned out from trying to escape are working perfectly now." War Chief Korak sounded amazed. "My warriors report that their battle wounds from previous fights are healed. This being is giving us strength instead of taking it away." High Counselor Arya's voice was soft with tears. "For the first time in 1,000 years, our three peoples are not afraid of each other. This creature's presence is making us remember that we can be friends instead of enemies." Katie smiled big. "See? Starlight is really good at making friends. It just forgot how for a while." Dr. Thompson was frantically taking notes on his computer. "Katie, this is the most important discovery in galactic history. A being that was the most feared thing in the universe has become its greatest protector. All because you showed it kindness." "I didn't do anything special," Katie said. "I just talked to it like it was a person." "Because it is a person, just a really big, really old person who is sad and lonely." Peter Johnson hugged his daughter tight. "Katie, you saved everyone. Not just us, but everyone in the galaxy who is afraid of the Void Stalker. It's Starlight now, Dad, and it was never really bad. It was just hurting." Captain Martinez came down to the observation deck to see Katie in person. "Katie Johnson," she said, "you've done something that no army, no weapon, and no government could do. You've turned the galaxy's greatest enemy into its greatest friend." Katie looked up at the captain. "Captain Martinez, can Starlight come with us? It's been alone for so long, and I think it would like to see new places and meet new people." "I think that's a wonderful idea," Lisa said. Outside, Starlight's voice came through the translation system, now clear and happy instead of broken and sad. "Small Katie, I would be honored to travel with you and your people. I have much to learn about friendship and much to make up for. The worlds I darkened, I will bring light to. The people I frightened, I will protect." The alien commanders requested permission to come aboard the New Horizons to meet Katie and thank her personally. For the first time in galactic history, 3 enemy races were working together, united by their gratitude to a human child. When they arrived, Katie was surprised by how different they all looked. Commander Zelek was tall and thin with silver skin and big eyes. War Chief Korak was short and strong with thick armor and sharp teeth. High Counselor Arya glowed with her own inner light and moved like she was floating. But they all did the same thing when they met Katie. They knelt down to her level and spoke to her with great respect. "Small human Katie," Commander Zelek said, "you have done what our greatest minds could not do. You have brought peace to the galaxy." "Little warrior Katie," War Chief Korak said, "you fought the greatest battle without any weapons except your heart. You are the bravest person I have ever met." "Wise child Katie," High Counselor Arya said, "you have shown us that the strongest force in the universe is not fear or anger, but love and understanding." Katie felt embarrassed by all the attention. "I just made a friend. Everyone can make friends if they try." Dr. Thompson looked up from his research. "Katie, according to these records, Starlight has been alone for over 1 billion years. You've given it the first friendship it's had since its own people disappeared." "1 billion years is a really long time to be lonely," Katie said sadly. Wonder it was so sad it forgot how to be nice." As the days passed, Starlight traveled with the New Horizons, learning how to be helpful instead of harmful. It used its great power to fix broken ships, heal sick people, and protect travelers from space storms and pirates. Word spread across the galaxy about what had happened. The story of a human child who tamed the Void Stalker with nothing but kindness became legend. People everywhere learned that sometimes the best way to deal with something scary is not to fight it or run from it, but to try to understand it. Katie visited the observation deck every day to talk to her friend. She told Starlight about her life, her family, her dreams, and her favorite books. Starlight told her stories about the ancient universe, about civilizations that lived among the stars billions of years ago, and about the loneliness of drifting through empty space for longer than planets existed. Katie, Starlight said one day, before I met you, I thought I was a monster. I thought that fear and darkness were all I could give to the universe. But you showed me that I was wrong. You showed me that everyone, no matter how lost they are, can find their way back to being good. That's because being good is what you really are inside, Katie said. The monster part was just because you were hurting. But the real you, the you that your people loved 1 billion years ago, that was always still there. You just needed a furry